Before I get started, I want to let you know that I'll be using footage and clips from TechSmith's Stream VOD on YouTube for this video and most likely future videos until we get new footage. He was super cool in allowing and encouraging me to use it, and I highly encourage you to give him a follow on YouTube and Twitch if you want to catch more VHS stuff from him. He was picked by the devs to premiere the game and has been in the closed beta for the past 5 months, so we can be sure that he'll have more stuff for us in the future. Okay, so today I want to talk about the things that VHS does differently than other games in its position and how that might help it gain and, most importantly, keep a devoted community of players. There have been other entries in the asymmetrical horror genre and we all know where they ended up. But VHS has a team of devs that are also very aware of how those games turned out.
Space Coconut.
Let's start with the dev team we've met so far, particularly the creative director, Chris Mayer. This is his introduction.
Yeah, I've also been working on the game for a long time, a little longer than Kenzo since we started the game. And I've been at the company for 15 years since I started the company, but I'm the creative director here, so I oversee all of the production, and this game's been absolutely amazing. I mean, we are an indie developer. This is our first game in this foray. Like, we have never made multiplayer 4v1 style game before, and we built a game that we love to play. We built a game that we thought we would play. I mean, I hate to say it, I probably put 3,000 or 4,000 hours into this game, playing it already.
Hearing that Chris put in over 3,000 hours in the game gives me quite a bit of confidence in their decision-making capability. The rest of the team are just as excited to play their own game and have mentioned that they've played other asymmetrical games.
So personally, like I played a lot of other 4v1 games, and in the office we play 4v1 games together and stuff. And the one thing that I'm really excited about with this, and the thing that sets it apart for me when I'm playing other games that are 4v1, I'm just wishing I was playing this our game.
We can assume Dead by Daylight to be one of them, but this little slip.
Yeah. Whenever the monster is inside,
tells me that they've played quite a bit of Dead by Daylight. I catch myself calling customers survivors at my day job, and I'm sure that many of you have similar experiences. This tells me that they're keenly aware of DBD's bad points and have taken steps to avoid them in VHS. The most important being a win condition.
There's no fight to the death style games. Everyone's going the escape mechanic, which I love. It's cool. It's a very fun loop. But ours, I think it plays different because we're not going to a door. We're not trying to get out of a level. We're not trying to do that same mechanic every time. The fight goes like all through the map until it ends. Like, you can't escape the level to avoid the monster and leave. You've got to confront it or die. Either way, the game only ends when you confront the monster face to face.
By having a clear win condition, it's going to give the team an easier time discerning problematic parts of the game. Those problem areas will become even more apparent when more people play the game. How well and how long it takes these devs to address those problem areas will be a good indicator of what we can expect from the game once it's released. Their balance philosophy is the next most important part.
Someone had asked, is the balance going to be more towards single queue players or full teams? And we explicitly decided to make the game playable at the highest level of play possible, right? So a full team communicating all the time with really good communication should still be able to fight sort of on a level playing field with a good evil.
Now, I know what many of you are thinking. If they balance for the top % of players, it's going to be a bad experience for everyone else. I don't think it will. By clearly balancing around the top % while having a clear win condition in place, the fun in the game will be successfully navigating the state of the match with the rest of your team. Less skilled players can still come together and find success against their opponents, which will translate into higher skill over time. This avoids the problem that Dead by Daylight has in regards to matchmaking and the apparent overwhelming superiority of one side over the other. Only time will tell if this becomes a problem as players become more skilled, But remember, the devs have thousands of hours in this game, and Vanguard was able to give them a run for their money after only a few months of play with no prior asymmetrical horror game experience. He wasn't stumped in the way a months-old player would have been by a thousands-hour player in Dead by Daylight. Now, we can't ignore the art style for VHS. The devs have said that they did go for realism at first, but found themselves changing the style to what we have now.
The art style, when I first came onto the project, the art style was hyper realistic, super gritty, super dark.
Super bloody. I have a screenshot of a level with the blood filling a hallway.
It was pretty
changed
crazy.
a bit since then, yeah.
So like art style, we've gone through a few different art styles, and so the whole tone of the game has shifted. Because like Chris was saying, as we were going, it's just the goofy stuff, the fun stuff that we were doing was fun to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all of the art style and everything has changed to reflect that as well.
And we realized the tension in the game and the fear in the game came from being chased by a giant monster. And if the monster is wearing a ridiculous costume, it doesn't actually make that tension any less palpable.
No, it
so
doesn't.
It in the moment, it can be wearing something really silly that if you were standing back watching a stream, you go, oh, look at that silly monster. When you're being chased, it doesn't make a difference at all. And you also don't need evisceration and blood, so we kind of stayed away from those things because we want to have as many people playing as they can, because there's no reason to put it in there, and it kind of makes me get bored if there's too much of that stuff. So for us, like, we focus more on like making fun dance emotes than we did on than making like really gory bloods, because that just is something we enjoy more as players here.
While I wasn't a fan of the art style at first, I realized after watching the dev match for the first time that I didn't care about the art style by the end of the match, and was engaged in what was happening instead. I believe this will happen for many people who decide to give the game a try. By avoiding copious amounts of gore also, they widen their audience to many more people in countries with fewer limitations. Also, most importantly, the gameplay will dictate the worth of the game to the player more than any cosmetic, license, or visuals ever would. Valheim is a good example of this idea, but we need more to keep the player base engaged, which leads us to progression.
Hellbent Zoe has asked, can you tell us more about the progression system?
Hellbent Zoe, who wrote all of the stories for the progression system, yes, we can. We can tell you more about the system you worked on a lot. We have like some other games have progression systems where you can advance your characters. We have everything in our game is tied to the video store and the theming behind that. So we have a system where you go in, you can rent movies, and the movies allow you to do challenges in the matches, and they as you finish them, you complete them, you get lots of cool rewards, unlocks, and costumes and things like that. You can grind for those ones, you don't have to pay anything for that. That's movies, and you can always have a movie that's unlocking. If you finish the first movie, you get the extended cut, and you get the director's cut, you get these other versions of the movie which add more challenges. And some of them are really challenging, and some of them are pretty straightforward, like survive a match, and then other ones are like a laundry list of little things you have to do to get through it. And those just add a lot of fun to the day-to-day playing of the game. So you have little things you can do. Like, I mean, I know we built the system, but I love finishing movies and getting through the system. It takes like 30 or 40 hours to finish like one movie on there. And I've done it for a couple characters, like naturally on the internal builds and on the friends build we have going. And it's a super fun system. And I really like that, because if I want to play it, I hope other people want to play it. We also have a progression system you go through where it's a journey. You go through this journey and you can unlock different nodes as you go along. You unlock all types of different things in there. You get like perk points, so you can assign more perks on your thing. You can unlock more perk slots. You can...
He talks about the class system next, but we'll talk about that in a later video. I'm going to hold my judgment on the progression system until after I've seen what the challenges are and completed some of them myself. I'm also holding judgment to see what the awards for those challenges look like compared to the paid cosmetics available, because we all know how I feel about monetization. Speaking of which...
Yeah, I mean, we thought about it for a long time, and we really wanted to make sure a lot of people got in and played the game, and not a lot of barriers to that. We have a lot of really cool content in the game, but we're making the game a free-to-play game. I mean, we're the only asymmetric free-to-game that, as far as I know. And we're free to play, and there's gonna be just lots of cool stuff to buy in the game. You'll have like lots of costumes and clothing and skins and variants, and all the weapons can be changed in the way they look and the way they behave. You can't do anything to pay to win. You can't do anything to be better by paying. It's all just cosmetic. But we'll have like the we'll have our own sort of like battle pass type stuff too that comes down the pipe and that sort of thing, and founders packs with a bunch of really cool gear that you start off with. But it's going to be a free-to-play game for the.
I'm so
for better or worse, we've decided to make it a free-to-play game. So yeah.
So yeah, VHS is free with a cosmetics shop. It's a very successful business model, and the biggest financial reason that new players might choose to play VHS over Dead by Daylight. Free is a very low cost to try a game to see if you like it, and if the players like what the devs have done, they'll dump quite a bit of change into it to support them, as well as have some snazzy cosmetics. The most important thing for me here is that there is fair value to the cosmetics. If there's a $20 skin, it better be a full body thing with interchangeable pieces and special emotes and audio files. Of course, that's probably just me, but it'll say a lot about the cash grab rating of VHS if a shirt is $15 in the cash shop. The devs often refer to Evolve as part of their inspiration, but I recall that Evolve was said to be created to sell cosmetics first and be a good game second. Hopefully, the devs don't take it too far, but as a free-to-play game, players, including myself, are going to be more forgiving towards the shop. A battle pass is planned for the future, so we'll see what that looks like then. To its credit, the cosmetics from the shop or from the grind sound like they're going to make character customization absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, so character customization is something we've focused heavily on for a really long time. Gone through many different systems and worked really hard to get all of these things fitting together. We have like 10. How many slots do we have? I don't want to say too many. We have a lot of slots that you can equip different
something
things
around
to.
10.
We
There's
have
a lot of slots. Yeah.
shirts, jackets, pants, shoes, socks, glasses, hair things, face things, hand things. And also like full costumes on top of that as well. So there's a ton of content coming out for that stuff. And some of that content you unlock, this kind of ties into the other thing as well, the grinding. So you can grind through the movies like Chris was saying before to unlock additional content. And all of that content is only unlockable through the grinding. You can't purchase that content elsewhere. So you play through the journey, you unlock like character-specific cosmetics that relate to those character stories and sort of help flesh those characters out, and then you unlock their movie cosmetics as well, which relate to like their favorite movies and stuff. So they get specialized costumes for those.
Each character.
But all of that stuff, all of that stuff is grindable in the game through gameplay.
And the other thing they get is when they finish a movie or they go through the journey, they're unlocking certain points where they get the grindable currency in the game, which we call Flux, and that currency can be used to purchase things in the store. Not everything in the store. Some things in the store do require using fan bucks, which is a real dollar values in the store, but most things are grindable. Like a lot of things are grindable anywhere in there. So you can definitely get a lot of content without spending $1 in our game. We need to spend $1.
I'm excited to see what those cosmetics look like, and since the devs are choosing fun over seriousness, the options are going to be fantastic and hilarious. There's more to talk about VHS, but I'm going to leave it here for now. Next time we'll focus more on the gameplay, balance side of things, and that sort of stuff, since those are going to dictate if VHS has a future in the genre. So look forward to that. If you have any questions or thoughts, be sure to leave them in the comments below and maybe we'll get answers to some of them. In the meantime, I'm Space Coconut, and you're welcome